So you guys may have seen in my channel in the past different videos that I've made on depression and fighting that as a musician, as an artist. All of us have sad periods in our life, but what makes depression different is, at least for me, the clear distinction of hopelessness that I've felt and a lack of interest in the things that I'm doing or the things that I usually love to do, which is actually called anhedonia. This is the official name for that, I've learned over the past few months, particularly in things that you would normally find pleasure in. So for me, this has always been in regards to making music. I talked a little bit about my depressive episodes in the last video, the last episode. To dive a little bit more deep into that, the music is what drives you. It's what keeps you wanting to go on, to push forward, to keep creating. The music is sort of a fuel source for itself. It is the reason why you continue to push. And when that fuel source even is not adequate enough, it's like then you really lose your sense of drive and purpose. So I've faced this a few times in my life. I would start comparing myself to other people that are in the same sort of career as me, I should say. And because I wasn't as far along as they were, most YouTubers and musicians and things like that, that would trigger my depression. Or if I was already feeling depressed, it would sink me deeper down. And this is why a lot of people say comparison is the thief of joy. We compare ourselves so much to these other people that don't live the same lives that we do. We may be in the same fields, but we don't have the same experiences. And because of this, we shouldn't be comparing ourselves in the first place, but we do. As musicians, as artists, as humans, we naturally do this. And it leads to us walking down a lonely road of worthlessness. And I'm still learning this to this day because I still compare myself in some ways to other musicians, other creatives who are making more money than me, who get more views than I do. Seeing yourself and your value, it's kind of clouded. Your own judgment about yourself and your life and your worth is clouded, and it's not real. It's just this moment in time where you're not thinking normally. That's what it is, right? Whether it's a chemical imbalance or you're feeling it because of some other factor in your life, something has affected your thought process, attributing your self-worth to what you can or can't achieve or what you do or don't achieve. While I do believe that that is somewhat of a thing that you should measure yourself and your life by, it's not the only thing because you're a human outside of your work. You're a human outside of the music that you make or outside of the jobs that you're able to secure or the money that you're able to get, the relationships that you're in. You are a human first. A big part of my depression would come from the fact that I would put all of my worth in my success or my failure. But if I was succeeding, then I felt like I was on top of the world. If I was failing, then I felt like I was a failure at life, not just at that thing, but at life. And I still struggle with this to this day. We have to be mindful of the way that we think about things, the way that we see things and visualize these different things that we perceive. We have to be careful about labeling certain things in our life or other people's life as that's what success looks like, or that's what failure looks like. Let's talk about a Ferrari, for instance. If somebody came outside in the parking lot right now and drove in a Ferrari, I would automatically assume that they're a successful person, they have a good paying job, they make a lot of money, right? You would probably assume the same thing. But what if that person went into major debt? Their credit is now low. Maybe they miss a couple payments on that car. Maybe that's the only thing that they're paying for, and they don't have a house. Maybe they're homeless, right? We don't think about these things. We don't think about what goes on behind the scenes of someone's quote unquote success that we compare ourselves to. Is their success actually real? Or is it just something for the world to perceive as successful? Also, don't put yourself in a position to where you feel like a failure because your music sounds different. Don't label yourself as a failure because your music doesn't sound like Kanye's, or your music doesn't sound like, I don't know who's big out right now. In terms of music, I've been pretty good with not comparing myself. I want to make what I want to make. I want to be happy creating what I feel and what I love. And how I create it doesn't matter. How it comes out to other people doesn't matter. If I like it, then I like it. And that's what success is to me in terms of music making. But then, of course, the money stuff and all that stuff is a whole different Oprah show because, we have to have money to pay our bills. And of course, I'm going to feel the effects of that when I can't buy the things I don't want to buy. So I'm still going to feel that from time to time. But just for the musicians out there, I know that there's people, because they comment on my channel all the time. There's people out there that feel that they're not adequate musicians because they're making music that doesn't sound like the person next to them, or the person who's #1 on Billboard, or the person who has 5 #1 hits and has 200 billion streams, right? You shouldn't care about that stuff, because what you need to be caring about and what you need to focus on is your music and what you want to do and how you want to make it, how you want it to sound. If you're personally happy, yes. Good Lord, man. With the way that your music sounds and how you made it, that's your success right there. Comparing yourself, don't do it, because you're already happy with yourself. Putting on an image, trying to become what other people want us to become, aka our family, or what different people believe we should be. Living in someone else's shoes. This is a recipe for disaster, let me tell you. Because one time, I went through a breakup. Every guy goes through this, where they go through a breakup, and then they got to hit the gym, and they got to start, let me get buff and all that stuff. That's definitely something that I went through. But the thing is, I wasn't getting buff to better myself. I wasn't going to the gym so that I can become a better me, right? Yeah, it was happening, but I was going to the gym because I knew that the person I was cheated on with was buff. And that was me comparing myself to someone else and trying to live in his shoes. Did I want to go to the gym, and did I want to have, of course I want to have muscles and all that stuff, but did I really want to be like, yeah, Dr. Iron Pump Man, yeah. No, deep down, I didn't want to be that. I still don't want to be that. I hate the gym. I only like cardio. I don't even like cardio, but going for a walk is nice. And hearing the birds and trees sing to me is very nice. That is an example, though. What can lead you even further into depression is when you're trying to live your life according to someone else's lens. You're looking through someone else's lens. This is how they want you to be, and you do it instead of doing it yourself, doing it how you want to do it. Musicians, especially young musicians, we face this quite a bit. Musicians, it's already tough enough that people think being a musician is not a real job. It's starting to get better because obviously the success that people are seeing, and especially with social media, people are starting to see that you can have a real job as a musician, even if it is via YouTube. That's the way that I've gone, And it's tough, though. It's tough, and it's important not to live through someone else's lens, because these people can be our parents or our brothers or our sisters or our friends, our loved ones, our significant others. It can be so tough to escape that. I don't know why people give us such a hard time. Like, we're just doing something that we love and we want to do it for a living. What's wrong with that? Yes, it's a hard thing to achieve. It can be very hard. I wouldn't be making this depression video if it was easy. But why do people have to make it harder? I don't know. A lot of it, for me, it can't be avoided, but it can definitely be tamed, because I know that with me, medication, of course, first of all, medication for me is one of the main ways that I treat it, and I'm already taking medication for that. But when and if it does happen, it's important to be equipped with the right tools to handle that depression or that low feeling, that really distractive sadness and lack of motivation. You can feel like life is purposeless. This has been a big one for me this year, actually. In the beginning of the year, maybe about a month ago, when I was having a few intense episodes of, I don't know if I want to disclose that yet. I was just having some really intense days, and there were some days where nothing felt real. And it was this same day, actually. I think it was the same day. And I drove past this sign that I drive past all the time that says slide area. But this day, when I drove past the sign, it said suicide area. And this day, although yes, I did work that day and I got a lot done that day, it still felt like there's no purpose for me doing this. Why am I showing up to make this video, to post this YouTube channel for people to comment? It doesn't matter. None of this matters. It has no purpose. I didn't know, and I still don't know if that was a depressive time. Because depression, it doesn't always have to mean that you're sad or you're down. It can be so many different things. But this day I felt like my mood was pretty okay, aside from the fact that now I'm hallucinating. You can feel depressed because of a loss of life or a breakup and things like that, but you can also feel depressed because there's something going on in your head that you don't necessarily know. You can also be depressed because there's something that's happening in your body that you don't know. Physical things can cause all these different types of things, but I know that my depression was caused by me being bipolar. Now I'm just on this mission to understand myself, and that's kind of why I'm talking about it in these videos. And so candidly, I have a journal that I write down all these things and all my symptoms and the stuff that I experience. But for me, talking is a big part of that. And so maybe it might help you to talk to someone, whether it's a professional or someone who is not judgmental. Any of these things that you're dealing with is worth seeking help for. These have just been my thoughts on depression. Keep watching yourself, Leave a like on the video, leave some comments if you have any questions or comments for me. Other than that, thank you guys. I love you. And until next time, stay legendary. Deuces.